Well, all this week, we have shown you how Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MADD, helps the victims of impaired driving. People surviving serious injuries, mothers who've lost children, and this morning, a woman who lost her husband of almost 37 years. We're doing this to show you why it is so crucial for you to get involved in their biggest fundraiser of the year, their annual Walk Like MADD 5K. It's happening this weekend. Here's Millicent Brandt's story after her husband was killed by a drunk driver in 2017. It's a phone call from her brother. Millicent Brandt says she will never forget.
There had been a terrible accident and that my husband had been severely injured.
Her brother told her her husband, Skip, was hit by a car while riding his motorcycle to Daytona for Bike Week.
He said, "It's really bad. There's blood everywhere." And I knew right then that it was probably going to be fatal.
20 minutes into her drive to the hospital in Orlando, Millicent got a second phone call, confirming what she already knew in her heart.
That he passed in the ambulance. We had to make the next 2 hours of this trip knowing that my husband wasn't going to be alive when we got to the hospital.
Investigators say the driver who hit Skip, 83-year-old James Osborne, had a blood alcohol level almost twice the legal limit.
They actually found an open bottle of alcohol in the car. He had prior stops, and they had let him plead it down to reckless driving. So this gentleman should have been off the road before he ever killed my husband.
Millicent says shortly after that day in March of 2017, her family got her in touch with Mothers Against Drunk Driving of Southwest Florida.
Over the course of the next 2 years, I could not, and my family could not have made it through without the support that MADD gave us.
Through every court date, answering any questions, advocating for her family, and connecting them to grief counseling.
And they're still there. On the anniversary this year of my husband's accident, which it had been 3 years and all the legal stuff is over, I got a card from my MADD advocate,
The driver was sentenced to 10 years and 4 months in prison. Millicent says she's glad to see justice for Skip, the love of her life for 37 years.
Excuse me.
Her practical jokester.
Can you tell me a little bit about him and the person he is?
Yeah, this one I may have to go get some Kleenex on. He was larger than life. He was very outgoing. My brother said he'd never met a person who was so happy in his whole life.
Through Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Millicent now spends her time speaking at victim impact panels to DUI offenders, spreading this message.
Think of the devastation that you could cause in somebody else's life. And if you killed someone, would you ever yourself recover from that guilt that you have of knowing that you changed so many people's lives for a selfish decision that you made? If I can just make one of those people stop and think before they turn on the ignition about my story and what it's done to our family, then his passing is not in vain.
Tough to imagine what Millicent has been through, but she encourages you to join them in raising money this weekend for their Walk Like MADD virtual event. And to think of the people MADD supports when you do so, the victims of impaired driving, when they feel they can't walk that road alone. This event, again, it's virtual this year. That means you can do that 5K or 10K anywhere you want here in Southwest Florida tomorrow and Sunday. If you want to register for the event or donate, just go to our website, fox4now.com, and click on this story.